Hello and welcome to Grooming a Golden Doodle 101. So today we are going to be bathing, blow drying, and doing a full groom on a two or 3 year old golden doodle named Bear. He's actually a service animal for a veteran, and he's going to be our demonstration for the day. So today we're going to be giving him a bath with Chi Tearless shampoo, Hemp's hydrating shampoo, and then we're going to give him a full blow dry with a 1/2 inch guard comb all over, teddy bear head. We're going to keep his eyelashes, trim his ears, and trim his tail while giving him a nail file as well. So let me go on ahead and get you started. So since we are working from home and it is the Texas heat, we're sitting at about 101 degrees outside. We are going to be doing this in a cutoff sleeves and shorts, so excuse the attire. We just need to do this for safety reasons so no one gets heated. Okay, now everyone meet our candidate. This is Bear. He's going to be such a good boy for us today. Isn't that right, buddy? Okay. So now that we got Bear all hooked up, I'm going to go ahead and check our water pressure, make sure it's nice and low. This is on the misting mode, so it's really, really light. Good boy, buddy. What we're going to do is just stretch his ears out, make sure nothing's stuck in the collar. Start with his ears. Make sure everything's really nice and saturated. Good boy. And I like to start from the occiput, also known as the crown, right back here. It's that little pointy thing that you feel inside the dog's skull. Some dogs will have a pointier one than others. His is fairly prominent, so everything just kind of runs down really nicely. Good boy. And you can tell how low the water pressure is. It's even going right over his eyes while they're closed. He doesn't mind even a bit. So usually at this point, most dogs will start to shake their head pretty consistently, but Bear's a really good boy and we've been through this a lot. Usually I like to just maintain one hand on their head. It kind of does help to deter them from shaking, but some dogs are just gonna shake. So I get a healthy amount of our Tearless Chi shampoo. Go ahead and give it a nice lather in your hands. I even like to actually wet my hands afterwards. I start under the chin, on top of the head. Just kind of like work it nicely into their mustache. Go ahead and get all those eye boogies out. And even though it is a tearless shampoo, even though it is a tearless shampoo, you're going to want to do your best to keep that stuff out of their eyes. Nothing is going to be, I say, 100%. And it's always better safe than sorry. I know I wouldn't like any stuff stuck in my eyes, even if it was like that Johnson & Johnson. Alright, so I add a little bit more Tearless shampoo, especially because he's got nice thick ears. A lot of the times, since their hair will be so oily, it'll just eat that shampoo right up. The reason I like to start with the head first is mainly because that's the thing that people usually gravitate first when they see their dogs. They give them the schmoozy poos, lovin's, and they instantly just go to smell the head. So I like to keep the Tearless shampoo on for the duration of the bath, just so if it does have even the lightest bit of scent, we can make sure that that scent stays without having to use any extra colognes or perfumes. Gonna wet his head a little bit just because it got a little bit thick on us. Make sure it gets more bubbly. Boy, buddy. So I usually see Bear about once every 6 to 8 weeks. He's gotten on a pretty good schedule, and he's kind of come to realize that grooming is definitely one of those times where he can just kind of kick back. And after he gets done with me, he just kind of gets to really relax at home. Are you falling asleep, buddy? Alright, I'm gonna rinse off my hands a little bit. So Bear right now is sitting at about little under 2 inches. I saw him just about a month and a half, 2 months ago, like I was saying. So even though his hair hasn't grown too terribly much, it's super thick. So we're going to go ahead and turn up that pressure Always make sure that your water's at a good temperature too. The last thing that you need is to be shocking a dog with too cold or too hot of a temperature. That's just kind of a way to burn some trust right out the gate. Best way to check for temperature is always put it right up against your wrist. And you're also going to make sure to do that for your clipper blades as well. If it's too hot for the inside of your wrist, it's going to be too hot for the dog's skin no matter where it's at. Good boy, buddy. So, when you go to the sanitary area, make sure that your pressure comes down significantly. That's also a way to burn some trust right out the gate. It's a very, very sensitive, delicate area, just like on most animals. Alright, now that he's thoroughly saturated, we're going to go ahead and give him that orange citrus Hemp's hydrating shampoo. No plugs intended. So I'm going to start from the back end just because that's where it's most thick on him. Make sure to get it all along the top and then work my way out. And when you're doing this by hand and you don't have any sort of pre-mixing system, you're going to be going back and forth a lot from the shampoo to the hose just to make sure all that shampoo spreads properly. And you want to make sure to shampoo them longer than you would traditionally shampoo yourself. Mainly that's because you don't go 6 to 8 weeks without shampooing your own hair, and they got a lot of stuff to get off of them at this point. Going to resaturate his sides and his legs. You're doing great. All right. So, a lot of times, a lot of groomers tend to miss right underneath these toenails. That is where they have a lot of gunk just built up. Also want to make sure to get really thorough in between these webbings. This will also give you the opportunity to see if they have any serious mats or tangles in there if you didn't find them during check-in. Make sure to also get this back area. A lot of time this hair, it's kind of twisted and matted down more so than the rest of the back legs. Gets a little dirtier is all. Alright, so at this point you're going to make sure not to be shy. It's nothing personal, nothing anything but what it is. You have to really make sure to clean their sanitary area because you don't want that stuff left in your clippers or that stuff just kind of getting dried on there once you're going to be doing the drying process. It's okay, buddy. So what he's doing right now is he's just putting a lot of his weight into me, so I'm just going to readjust him. There we go, good boy. That way he doesn't have enough leverage to put on me. And he may swing over again, but it's also just about gentle correction. Sooner or later, they're just going to kind of realize it's more effort for them to just like try to get back into that position than it's actually worth. Unless you're dealing with the terrier. Really get in between those toes. So Bear's owners have done a great job of keeping up with their brushing this time around. They definitely have seen the downside of not brushing at one point, and sometimes it's just you got to do what you got to do for the safety of the animal, make sure that they're comfortable, their skin isn't suffering by excessive brushing if they do come in too matted. But it's also all about explaining that to the pet parent, especially during drop-off, just that it's not anything that we like to do. As groomers and stylists, a lot of us consider this to be our art. So, when you think about it, a shave down, we don't really get to do much with that. It's really not a whole lot of fun that comes from stripping a dog. But when you're able to actually hand scissor and give them the straight column legs, do some really pretty work on their face, you get to really feel proud about what you're doing more than just a maintenance sort of deal. It's so good, buddy. So whenever I'm going back and adding more shampoo, I'm not adding more than about a nickel size of shampoo at a time, just to make sure that I'm not shampooing excessively, wasting product, but also ensuring that everywhere gets touched with shampoo and nicely scrubbed. Even if it looks like it's wet and it's got bubbles on it, there's no harm in just going over it with a nice stiff curl finger, making sure to really do your due diligence during the bath, because it'll pay off during the grooming. Good boy, buddy. Alright, last one that covers your back. Boy. All right. And we have thoroughly scrubbed, so that has given a lot of the shampoo its opportunity to do its job. I'm going to go ahead and get rinsed off myself. Let that sit for just one more second, and I'm going to go wipe the sweat off my face, and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we've wiped the San Antonio humidity off, I'm going to go ahead and give our bear guy a little rinse. So I like to start from the nip on the back and kind of make my way around. But like I was saying, still making sure to keep that careless shampoo on for the most part. Really want to let any scent, even as mild as it may be, really do its job and try to set in. That way you're not putting any excess colognes or perfumes on that your client may not want. Good boy, buddy. And so I'm just kind of letting him move around however he feels comfortable, just getting off the main excess of shampoo. And whenever I get a lot of this off, then I'll go back and do the detail work with the rinsing, just to make sure there's no remnants left behind. You have to make sure to rinse all the shampoo, because if you don't, that will greatly, greatly irritate the dog's skin over the next couple of days. You will have some angry pet parents on your hands. One of the main culprits for skin irritation after blade burn, unfortunately, is excess shampoo or conditioner being left behind after the groomings. And that 100% is an avoidable situation if you do your due diligence. The puppy doesn't have to suffer, and neither do you. Alright, so now we're going back and just doing that detailed work I was talking about. Making sure to spread every toe. Make sure to cover every crevice. Give you no hair on wash. Alright, now we're going to go back to our mister setting. Let's go ahead and rinse this noggin. Good boy, bud. Good boy. Basically what I'm doing to speed up the process, just like you would do with your own hair, just running your fingers through it as often as possible, making sure that your fingers are the things that are getting rinsed as well as the hair, just to kind of speed up that rinsing process. We're going to change it back to our shower setting just for these ears. They're a little bit thicker. Make sure that you place your hand behind the ear either this way or this way just to avoid the water going straight in there. Golden Doodles, as well as many other breeds with these type of ears, are very, very prone to ear infections. Always make sure that they are completely dry after your bath. We're also going to demonstrate how to shave a little bit in front of the ear canal, just to make sure that we get airflow into that canal, but it doesn't actually change the look of the pup. It's pretty cool. Stand up a little bit. Good boy. Alright, so now we're just going to keep that water on, give him a good feel over. Just so he doesn't think the bath is done, but it might be if we don't find anything else. Okay, you handsome fella, I think you are done. So at this point, a lot of times, they want to shake. Best time too. We'll see. No shaking. Okay. So what we're going to do is just kind of squeeze some of this excess off. Don't squeeze too hard, just enough to build up some of that pressure. You'll also be able to get the opportunity to see if that runs clear. If you see any cloudiness at all, your job is not done. Alright, everything's running clear there. Go ahead and grab the mustache, just lightly give a little squeeze. Just like you would when you were schmootsy pooming at home, just give them some lovins. Alright, and get our hands, we're going to move around the body. Come down. And get the back legs, just give them a little bit of a light squeeze, nothing too hard at all. Pick the leg up, keeping him underneath the body. You definitely don't ever want to pull the leg out. You want to do your best to have the most natural range of motion as possible. That'll keep him nice and comfortable and help to build that trust that you're not going to make him feel awkward or like you're hurting him. You're going to repeat that process all around each leg and the tail. If at any point you see any cloudiness, your job is not done. And the soap could realistically be anywhere, so you need to do a full once over to make sure that all those suds are gone. And definitely double down for conditioner. Okay, we are all squeezed out, so go ahead and grab you a towel. So I'm only about 3 feet away from Little Bear. If he was in a tub or on a table, he would need to come down to the floor for all safety regulations and reasons. Whether or not you think that he's close enough that you can catch him is besides the point. Anything can happen when you are grooming a pup, no matter how long you've been grooming them. Always make sure that their safety comes first. So we're just giving them a really good towel dry, just like you would your own hair. Make sure to get as much of that water off as possible. It'll save you a lot of time with the dryer. Okay. Alrighty. Bear Bear is mostly dry. We're going to go ahead and move him on inside and start the drying process. Okay, so now that we're back inside, you sit. Good boy, buddy. Alrighty, so for the most part, Bear does pretty well for the dryer. Every now and again, he does like to get a little bit mobile. If he does seem to walk around, we're going to go ahead and ask for a little bit of assistance to keep him in place, but we're going to see how he does. Alright. So it's best to have a dryer, a force dryer. The best one will be a variable speed. That way you can do the face, and you can also do the rest of the body with low and high pressures. This one has a variable speed and a heat setting. For the most part, I don't really like to go with the heat setting because the dryers do honestly heat up on their own. But it does help when you're in a pinch, when you have just a little tiny spot, like say on your leg that you had missed, or something that you just need to dry really quickly, but not for the whole body. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and point the nozzle away from the dog at first. Turn on your dryer and see how they raise it. Just want to reassure them first, make sure that they know that they're in a good place. So he's just going to lay down for this, and we're going to get started on his body. Definitely go for the head once you know that they feel more comfortable. You can go ahead and remove the nozzle at that point. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and stop instructing and follow along with the drying. Wind starting to get right towards his neck. We're going to go ahead and pull it away from him and bring it up. We're going to go ahead and try right around the shoulder and see how it reacts. So he does get squeaked every now and again. Nothing too uncommon at all. Especially with golden doodles, even with their size, they do tend to be a little bit wily when it comes to the dryer. So normally what we'd be doing is working our way from the top out and down, just like we did with the shampooing and the rinsing. But with the drying, especially because he does get a little bit skittish for the dryer, we pretty much just try to get what we can when we can. The head is pretty much the most tedious, is why we're leaving that for the last. By the time that we get to that, a lot of the air should have done a lot of the job for us. Then we'll just be able to go back with taking our nozzle off, pulling back similar to a fluff dryer. dog yawn, it's actually their way of showing that they're frustrated. Some of the times you can show the beginning signs of aggression, some of the times it's kind of like, hey man, I'm really tired of what you're doing, can you knock it off? It's not necessarily a threatening sign, it's just a sign of annoyance, so just be aware of that. Slowly start to wander away, think I'm not going to notice. Good boy. So some dogs do need a break every now and again. Bear's been a really good boy. He's been really relaxed for the most part, but he is getting a little more antsy right now, so we're gonna go ahead and give him about a 10-minute break, and then we'll be right back up to finish his dry and get to his grooming.